what's going on, folks? How are we doing this morning? It is 10 a.m., actually 10:07 here in the Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk a little Niners to start this show off today. We're going to bring in our guest real quick. We got Mark. Mark, how's it going, man?
Good, Adam. How you doing?
Good. I know we don't have you too long. You got some weather in Chicago, so your plans are getting altered to get your kids from the airport. Are you going to O'Hare or Midway?
Going to Midway today.
A bit easier to get in and out of there than the other place.
Yeah, they're both kind of crazy.
And next, we're going to bring in Mr. Paul Hope from overseas. What's going on this morning, Mr. Hope?
Well, 3 o'clock in the afternoon for me, gents, but it's always a pleasure. Good to see Mark. Big fan of what he's doing.
See you. Great to see you, Paul.
I always chuckle, Mark, when I hear you guys talk about the weather, because in England, we cannot cope with snow at all. We get like a small sprinkling and the whole country comes to standstill. So I'm very excited for the snow games tomorrow that I've seen advertised in the NFL. Or is it today? I've seen something about some snow games in the NFL, so I'm looking forward to watching them.
The Green Bay game might have snow.
Yeah, they probably will.
I already saw Twitter fans saying Christmas has arrived in Green Bay, and I'm like, you guys can fucking keep that up there.
Well, nice, easy weekend for me and Mark this weekend because obviously NFC West champions already got the division sealed. So
yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, we kind of get the weekend off.
So, wait, you guys don't play again until Sunday, right? Next week. You guys play Christmas Day or Saturday?
No, Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. So that's 9 o'clock kickoff in the UK. So I'm not sure what time that is over there for you, but it's causing a few issues for me being a family man.
4 o'clock game then.
Because
the Raiders Steelers is the Saturday night game, the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. I will be there.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, nice.
I'm excited. First game of the year, so I know it might not mean anything, but it will still be exciting to be there. It's always exciting to go to a game. It doesn't matter.
How far are you
from Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Oh, about 35, 40 minutes from Heinz Field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm in that little part of West Virginia where the triangle is, so I'm like immediately 5 miles from PA, so I'm right there.
Yeah.
It's really nice if you're going to do a concert because the pavilion's right there. The pavilion's about 8 minutes from the house.
Yeah, I drove through there, a few years ago, like right through that spot. So it's very pretty. It's like very mountainous and
it's not bad. It's easy drive. But anyway, Paul, I know we were talking on Thursday night, and Friday morning. I said, "How much sleep did you get?" You said about 4 hours, and it's always easier to get that sleep whenever you win versus losing. Like you feel like you get more sleep on a win. I feel anyway.
Yeah, it was Mark will probably hope great. It was quite an easy game, given at the start of the season when the schedule came out. I looked at this one, Mark, and I thought, I need to take the Friday off work. It's prime time. It's Seattle. It's going to mean something. And I knew that at the start of the season. And then the season started, Adam. We lost to the Bears. We lost to the Broncos. We lost Trey Lance. So it'll be sat here now, having sealed the division in Seattle. I just wished we'd been given the trophy, Mark, in Seattle, the NFC West trophy. That would have been the icing on the cake. But for me, it was
been funny.
It was quite a straightforward game. Our defense showed up. Brock Purdy did what he asked to do. But yeah, the game finished for me about 4:30. I jumped in some of the instant reaction shows in the comments, but I crashed about 5. And then I had to be up with the kids. So the missus was out for the day. So to be honest, I was still walking around with a smile on my face because we'd won. It's always easier after a win. And now I can just sit back and relax this weekend.
Yeah, but it ended up more stressful than I had hoped for because early on and really throughout the game they dominated, but they just weren't cashing in on those touchdown opportunities, and so they're late it's close, and I'm like, this game feels like it should be a 30-point win, but that's the way it is. And any win in Seattle against your division foe is a great win. So I'm not going to complain about it, especially when you have a almost undrafted quarterback leading the way.
Mr.
So
Irrelevant.
I
yeah,
mean,
and he was playing with an oblique injury and a rib injury. So it sounds like, from what I heard from Matt Mayoko, he couldn't even throw hardly at all before the game. And Matt actually was on KNBR, I think yesterday, and said that on that third down when Purdy ran for it, that he had said that he was going to dive to ensure that he got it, but at the last second was like, oh, I can't do that. I can't physically. That'll kill me. So that's why he slid and held the ball out. And so that injury was affecting him last night or Thursday night, and yet he still played the way he played.
yeah, I mean, the score itself, I
So
mean,
do we see Josh? So will we
No,
see Josh Johnson maybe next week since the division's wrapped?
I don't think so.
because they're still fighting for number
Yeah,
two.
I was going to say we're still fighting for the number 2 seed, so I think you still see the starters,
I was just
unless
wondering if that was a thought to give Purdy a little rest.
to be honest, it's just another wrinkle to the storyline, Mark. If Kyle Shanahan starts winning with a fourth quarterback this season, I think it might
I know.
stir the controversy put up a little bit more. But no, I don't
Yeah,
believe so, Adam.
yeah.
I don't think so.
So I have a quick question. I was on Evan's show last night, and he had a Ravens guy on, and he was saying Lamar wanted to go to San Francisco. What would you guys think?
Well, I actually,
I'm just
I'm
curious.
I'm not giving up on Trey Lance. I still think that he has the tools and uh, the motivation, the kind of desire and work ethic that an NFL quarterback needs. Plus, the other part of it is that even though Brock Purdy has a much lower ceiling, he's the kind of quarterback that Kyle Shanahan has really wanted. I mean, Kyle Shanahan wanted Kirk Cousins over RG3 and did well with Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, the way that Purdy plays is right in line with what Shanahan wants. So, but what I take, I mean, yeah, gosh, it'd be kind of silly to say you don't want him, but at the same time, he's going to be really expensive.
I was
Yeah,
just curious your thoughts because this came up last night on the show, and I was like, well, I have Niner guys on tomorrow. I might as well ask them and see what they think.
it wouldn't be a 49ers podcast if we weren't talking quarterbacks, if we weren't talking controversy, if we weren't talking. I mean, the simple answer to your question, Lamar Jackson, yes, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But like Mark said, he's expensive. Kyle Shanahan doesn't seem to want a mobile first quarterback. He wants a quarterback that can extend plays with his legs if possible. But like Marcus said, Purdy does seem to fit that stereotype of what Kyle wants. So I did a show
Yeah.
last night, TED Talks Ball, and we talked about maybe going ahead next year with Brock and Trey Lance as the QB room and letting them fight it out in training camp. But I'm on the same page as Mark. I don't think Trey Lance is done. I think we've invested a lot of capital in the kid. Obviously, he had a freak injury, and I'm just hoping that he can come back and shut up some of the doubters because non-49er fans seem to like to use this stick to beat us with Adam. We give up 3 first-round picks. He's a bust. He's a young kid. We just haven't seen him yet. So until I can see him play, I'm reserving my judgment.
Well,
Yeah,
he
it's
was on the
way too
sideline.
early to.
Was that his first? Was that his first time on the sideline with the team, walking around like that?
No, he's been on the sidelines for several games.
Yeah.
That was the
He's
first
been
time
in
they
and
really
around the
showed him
team.
that I saw. That was the
I
first
think it
time I
was
really seen him on the sideline.
I think it's the first time
Go
he's
ahead, Paul.
flown with the team, and he's been in like prominent, but there was a video we saw a couple of weeks ago, wasn't the Mark, on 49 social media, where he was in the training room and he was doing like the jumping, the skipping side to side, and he was gently running and people were getting excited. I think it was before the Brock Express left the station. We were getting excited that Trey could come back, but now Brock's playing the way he's playing.
Yeah, he went to Mexico with the team, but yeah, I would say maybe before that he wasn't traveling with the team. I'm not sure about that, but I do remember seeing him on the sidelines in Mexico. But yeah, there were a lot of fans getting excited about that. And of course, we'd love to have it, but at the same time, I'd rather he just heal up and be ready in the off season.
I'm with you, Mark. I think just wait till next year and let him fully heal. That way in training camp, you can get your total look at him, and knowing he had it'll be 9 months, I think, since the operation and healing process. Paul, I mean, you went through the healing process and everything else with your leg, with your knee. And you came back very strong, obviously.
Yeah, but at the same hand, you've got to attack your rehab, which I think Trey's doing. And like Marcus said, the beauty of the 49ers at the moment, we don't need to rush him back. I mean, what's been overlooked is Brian Greasy, the quarterbacks coach, was quite involved in the draft process this year, and he pushed for Brock Purdy. He'd watched his college tape. Obviously, he comes in with a 4 years experience, and obviously, the way Brock's playing at the moment, I don't think we need to rush Trey back. So it would be nice to see him continue that rehab. Obviously, the difference is, Adam, he's going to be a starting quarterback for the best franchise in the NFL. That was a 42-year-old rookie trying to get back to play the flag football. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I have to be careful. To be honest, I attacked my rehab. It was my first serious injury, even at my age. So to come back, I was quite proud of what I've come back. But I've had a couple of setbacks on the way. And that's what I think Mark's trying to get at with Trey Lance. We don't want to rush him back, because if he gets another injury or he gets another setback, it's another stick for people to beat him with. Oh, he's always injured. It's like Jimmy G. We moved on from Jimmy because he was always picking up an injury. That injury he suffered in Seattle was just a freak injury in between the tackles. It could happen to anyone. So I'm not overly worried, Adam.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing. Trey Lance played 10 quarters as a rookie. He played 4 this year in the beginning of a fifth. So that's less than 15 quarters. Yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy's already at what's 8 plus 3? Not really 4. So Brock Purdy's already at like 12 quarters played. So he's like, I mean, he's going to have more NFL experience than Trey Lance here very soon. And so that's hard. That's hard for me to wrap my head around, but it's just how it's been because Trey didn't play much last year.
And you've got to add to the experience he had in college as well, Mark, that he was pretty much the starter the 4 years he was there. He was in a pro-ready system, which has shown. I think the frustrating thing, Adam, is Kyle has shown a lot of play action, a lot of boots for Purdy. He's played to Purdy's strengths. And as 49ers fans, I'm like, oh, why didn't we do that for Trey Lance? I mean, week 1 was a washout, the weather, obviously, and then he got injured. So we may have seen that, Mark, mightn't we? We might have seen Trey Lance operate in a similar offense. And obviously, CMC, Trey Lance hasn't had the opportunity to play with CMC yet, so I'm very excited to see them two together on the field.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Do you think you guys would have got CMC if Trey Lance didn't get hurt?
I think so, because I think that it really had more to do with. It probably had more to do with Elijah Mitchell getting hurt, and then the fact that, hey, we're in it, but something's missing. And I mean, this is a perfect fit for the 49ers, not only for this team, but historically, because they've had Roger Craig, they've had Ricky Waters, who both were really good running backs, but were even better out of the backfield. Well, Gore was never the receiving. I mean, he was good out of the backfield as a receiver, but not like Roger Craig and Ricky Waters, that you could line out wide, you could put him in the slot, you could put him in the backfield, and that's how Christian McCaffrey is. And so that's a big advantage for the 49ers.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we still would have. What we gave up for CMC wasn't a king's ransom. There was no first round in there. And for me, it gave Kyle Shanahan a top 5 running back that he's never had before. And CMC's been better than I expected. And he's added that wrinkle to our offense, not just as a running back, as the safety valve for Jimmy, as the receiving. I went back earlier, Mark, and I was watching the Rams game this morning. The one CMC threw the touchdown for, and I was just like, just reminding myself, because obviously we're getting to this stage of the season where you focus so much on the game that's just been, and then the game ahead. And I thought, I'll go back and I'll watch some game tape in preparation for the shows I've got coming up. And he's quickly becoming a favourite of mine, Adam. I turned to my missus on Thursday night, halfway through the first quarter. I was like, I'm getting a 23 jersey. He's just that good. I'm adding him to the collection. So
nice. So back to Brock. Do you feel the injury was catching up to him when he missed 5 or 6 passes in a row in that second quarter after starting off 7 for 7, I believe?
Yeah, wasn't it 9 for 9 that he started off? I mean, it was something really good, but
I just recall seeing it 7 for 7.
Yeah, come on, Adam. Come on, you have to be better prepared. and I wouldn't have known that. In fact, I didn't even know that he hadn't thrown an incompletion. I just happened to remember hearing Al Michaels say he's 9 for 9. I think I think a lot of it was the way the Seahawks were playing him. But yeah, his injury probably. There was one incompletion to Kittle where he threw it short, where Kittle probably would have had another big game, but then the ball was broken up. And I think that probably, because it was a short ball, I think that probably had to do with his injury. But some of the others, I think, were probably more pressure related.
I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that, Paul. What'd you think?
I mean, like Mark said, we didn't even think he was going to be playing as much as he did. I mean, he hadn't even really. The team itself didn't practice because it was a short week, but I think I finally got excited just before kickoff when I saw some footage of him warming up on the field in the uniform, and then like you said, he went 9 for 9 for 73 yards, and you thought, what injury? When he was running on that one Mark touched upon, when he slid down, I was thinking, please don't get hit, and the way he extended the ball out. But for me, he had his 3rd game in a row with 2 touchdown passes. He's the first 49ers QB since 1970 to do it, and it's the first QB in the NFL since Justin Herbert in 2020. So it's not bad company to keep. And we're trying not to get excited, Adam, about the Brock Express, but you can't help. And I know some people are going to have a knock on who we've played. Tampa Bay weren't, the Tampa Bay, we believe. The Dolphins had a few injuries. But you can only beat that what's in front of you.
Yeah.
He's had a bit of luck to give a bit of critique as a non-49ers fan hosting this show. There was one to Diggs, which I don't know if you thought, Mark, Diggs should have intercepted that one. And if he takes that to the house, that's a different
I don't know how Diggs missed that ball. I'm not, I was sitting there watching it and I was like, did he really just drop that?
And
maybe it was the pressure of Richard Sherman being there. I don't know.
Well, if Jimmy throws that and Diggs intercepts it, then 49ers Twitter goes into meltdown. I mean, we had the one against the Bucks, which was a pick 6, chalked off for a flag. So when you go back and watch Purdy's game, he's very Jimmy-esque in some of the things he does, both good and bad. But he's had that luck, which I think you need in the NFL. We all can sit here and we can all go through plays where the ball bounces the other way, or if the flag hasn't called. So I'm not overly worried. I'm just think he's got a higher ceiling than Jimmy, but obviously he was drafted in the 7th round for a reason. I think the Mr. Irrelevant tag for me is done. I'm not even calling him Mr. Relevant anymore now. For me, he's proven his worth, and I just hope he can keep it going.
Well, he's a rookie who's now only played in 3 games, so he's supposed to make mistakes like that. And yeah, I mean that the Seattle run defense is not good, but they're pretty good against the pass. Their secondary is really good. And so I was surprised that pick was dropped, but they owed us that one because of the whole, the other pick six that was overturned by a horrible call. And maybe it's
That
technically the
was
rule, but
disastrous.
it was such a bad call. Um, and
That call might have saved my
I
fantasy season.
never, I never blame refs. In fact, I hate when people do that. But that was gosh, I complained about that one, and I rarely, if ever, do that. But
Yeah, it was a
Some of
frustrating
these,
one, that
some of
one for
these
me,
rougher
Mark.
ones.
I'd called we'd on the 49 Faithful pod, Adam, we'd called for a pick six. We said the defense was going to score a pick six. So when Lenore ran that one in, we were in the group chat, we were jumping up and down, and then I saw the yellow piece of fabric go in the air, and I thought, this is coming back. Now, to be honest, on this side of the pond, Mark, there was a 50-50 split. So in the group chat, there was the 50% of us saying it was, a BS call, that should have stood. But there was others who were saying to the letter of the law, to roughing the passer, and I was a little bit. It caused a bit of divide over the pond for a little while, but I've watched it back again, and I'm not going to change my mind. My instant reaction was right. That should have stood, and that would have made you said at the start, Mark, that the score was closer than what it was. But if that counts, if Robbie Gould's field goal goes over, you're looking at like 31-10, or possibly we could have put more points on the board. So when you look at it in that context, we did enough to
yeah,
win the game, but there was points missed, and the Ayuk
right,
drop as well.
yeah, and that
Paul,
was
you
a
got some
bad
fans.
drop. Yeah, the Ayuk drop was bad.
Yeah, and but given the season Ayuk has had so far, if you'd come into this game, Mark, and said he was going to drop the ball, you'd have been like, "Nah, Ayuk's on fire." But just goes to show it can happen to the best of them.
Yeah. He rarely does that, and a big third down, and then Robbie Gould misses the field goal, and so yeah, just a bad two plays there that let Seattle stay around.
Yeah, I did chuckle on the broadcast when Robbie Gould was lining up, and they said there's a 67% chance of this going in. I thought as soon as I've said that, he's going to miss this because it's the commentator's curse, and then it went to the. But
There is a jinx on that, don't you think, Paul? Mark?
yeah,
I mean, I thought the same thing. I was like, why are they showing the percentage right now? Like after the kick, and then it went
Yeah.
wide right, and now it's just like, well, 67%. Be
but
yelling
when
at my
all
kid if for a D. You know what I mean?
But when all said and
Yeah.
done, we swept Seattle for the first time since 2011. We sealed the division,
Yep.
first team in the NFL to do so. So we can sit back, we can, enjoy Christmas with no stress, Mark, because 49ers fans don't often get an easy ride of it. And we just need to see who's going to be our QB, Adam. It's just as straightforward as that, buddy.
Do you feel this Kittle and Brock connection is going to keep going, or because Ayuk got taken out of the game pretty much? There was a Jennings nice little catch for a first down over the top, but I mean Kittle and Brock seem to be clicking.
I mean, if you look at the stats, Seattle are terrible against tight ends, and rookie
hmm
quarterbacks are notorious for going to the tight ends as a safety valve. I think it's just a case of Shanahan looking at the weakness of his opponent and exploiting it, like what we've seen over the last few weeks. So it's good to see Kittle having that connection, but I don't think it'll come at a detriment. And for Purdy, what better supporting cast can he have? CMC, Kittle, Ayuk, Jennings, obviously Debo before the injury. This kid has got the best weapons in the NFL for me. So no, I'm not overly worried, Adam. I just think it's a case of pick your poison on the day. Seattle weren't good against the tight end, so they exploited it. And at the end of the day, Kittle had two big plays, which as a Club 85 member, I love George Kittle. I was over the moon that for the third time in his career he had a 2-touchdown game, especially when he just seemed to stroll them in. That 54-yard one's the longest touchdown for a tight end in the NFL this year. So long may it continue.
Ted has kicked in. I guess he got up. It's only 7:30 on that West Coast. What's up, Ted? We got another comment too, guys.
I could agree with that. What do you think, Mark? Do you think Kittle and Brock is a good connection? Do you think I've maybe gone a little
Yeah,
bit too?
I think you're spot on with the fact that a rookie quarterback is going to go to his safety net, which is often a tight end. Seattle is really good on the corners, so they're going to have better luck against or better success against wide receivers, which makes things open up a little bit more for the tight end. Also, Debo Samuel wasn't there, so that's another. And then the other thing is that George Kittle seems to love primetime games, so we shouldn't have been surprised that he came up so big in primetime. That's what he does.
He does tend to. I mean, I do enjoy his touchdown last year, Mark, where he's like skating on ice on the touchline. He's just keeping himself in, and those white uniforms. We have to play against Seattle in those white uniforms every time, because whenever we wear them whites in Seattle, we tend to do well. I'd even go as far to say Dre Greenlaw in that white uniform with the 57 gives them nightmares, like Russell Wilson used to give us nightmares, because Greenlaw always tends to play well against the Seahawks as well.
Yeah, yeah. Trey Greenlaw is just a beast. I tweeted that he plays like he's angry at the air because he's just like he's. I don't even know how to describe him, man. He's just the way he runs around and throws his body, man. He's just fierce, and love that guy.
Ted done daddy duty.
Feel his pain. That was me this morning taking the kids to ice skating lessons, but I've got a free afternoon with it being Saturday afternoon. It's because Adam reached out and asked if I'd jump on. I don't normally do Saturday afternoons at the moment, but I've been meaning to catch up with Adam again for a while. So I cleared my diary, booked it in, and here I am.
I'm glad you stopped by for sure. So yeah, what did I just read? The Vikings lose, we grab second spot. So I mean, it's always nicer to have home field for sure, even if it's for a couple games. But
Yeah,
what do you guys think? Do you think they're gonna clinch that first spot, or would you be happy with the two?
I'm not sure they can get to the first spot. Um, maybe if Philly loses out and the 49ers win out, possibly I'd have to look at the tiebreakers, but yeah, I don't know. I I don't
The
like the
Philly
idea
team's
of having to
pretty
go to
tough.
Philly. Yeah, I think that those mobile quarterbacks over the last few years have been a challenge for the 49ers. And if there's been any quarterback that's done well other than Patrick Mahomes against this defense, it's been the mobile quarterback. I mean, Justin Fields is not that good, but they've had problems with him the last 2 years. So when they take off, they just I think I think mobile quarterbacks play against a defense's aggressiveness, and so that's the part I don't like. But Phillies, they've got a really good team.
Yeah, I'm on the same
Devontae
page.
Smith is waking up lately on that
Yeah.
team as well.
I don't think we can
Getting
catch the 1 seed marks, right? And equally, Mark, remember with the Falcons, Mariota isn't exactly one of the premier Russian quarterbacks. But the key thing you said, which is what we've said since then, is he used our aggressiveness against us. And we are an aggressive defense. And I am worried about playing the Eagles, Adam. I think they get the number 1 seed. I think we get the number 2 seed.
Hmm.
Be interesting to see whether the Eagles play the Cowboys at some point before. I haven't seen the connotation of the NFC because
I don't have I don't have my schedule in
they're the
front of
two
me.
teams that I'm keeping an eye on: the Cowboys and the Eagles. I think it's with us, we're the best three in the NFC. I think it'll be one of them three
Hmm.
that progresses to the Super Bowl. But one game at a time, Adam. We're not overly worried.
Oh, I know, one game at a time. I know that for
This
sure. I
time
would just
last year, me and Mark were nervously looking at each game because we had to win out to even get
I
in.
know.
So to be asked now, a year later, like, are you going to rest the starters? What you're going to do? I just think Kyle Shanahan winning breeds winning. I don't think he's going to change much. You just hope we get into the playoffs with everybody fully fit. I'd hope he's going to use these next few weeks to mix in So like Jordan Mason, we're quite high on Mason. We haven't seen him get as many reps as possible. Maybe these next
Bowling
few
ball,
games,
baby.
Mark, are the kind of opportunity to kind of give him those much needed reps in a situation where it doesn't matter too much if we win or lose, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, it
I
would be
was
nice to win, but it would be better to go into the postseason healthy.
I was surprised we didn't see more of Mason on Thursday.
Yeah, I was too.
To let him get in there and do his bowling ball thing and just destroy people. That dude's a bowling ball man.
He nearly
I
scored
just
the touchdown.
wonder, they were really playing because Seattle's bad against the run, and they were horrible the week before against Carolina, and so I think that probably Pete Carroll drilled it into them in that short week that look, we're just going to sell out against the run and take our chances against a rookie quarterback, and it didn't work out for them. But they were really they played the run really well, even though McCaffrey had over 100 yards. It wasn't an easy 100 yards. So I think that maybe because Debo wasn't there, I think that Kyle may have been sticking with McCaffrey more than I had hoped that he would, simply because he needed that threat in there.
And that Seattle place is a tough place to play any day of the week. That Seattle crowd's going to be there and they're going to be hungry. I mean, they got the 12th man.
Yeah.
They generated a bit of
I
noise. They went quiet fairly quickly, and I did see a lot of red and gold on Thursday night in the crowd. I know Breezy was there, Chapman was there. I loved seeing the footage of them celebrating in the stadium after the game. I would have loved to have been there. Looked awesome.
Yeah.
I was hoping Wayne would have popped on, but I guess not. I did invite him.
He's probably still recovering from because, like I said, they were out in Seattle in force. I joined the NFL in 2011 and I hung my hat on the Niners. And ever since I've stepped into this arena, the Seahawks have been the team I've hated the most, purely because they used to beat us all the time. That was the big rivalry for me. The flag football team I've joined, Mark, there's 2 Seahawk fans. So tomorrow at training, I will be going fully decked up in 49ers gear. And I will be reminding them, because they gave me a lot of stick at the start of the season, that they were going to do this, they were going to do that. So the fact that we sealed the division in their backyard has made me very happy. But you're right, Adam, it is a hostile environment. But for me, it's the biggest rivalry of the season. And I'm just sat here beaming that we've beat them twice this year.
Yeah, we
I
hate the
like
Seahawks. We hate the Rams. We hate the Cowboys. We hate them. We hate them badly. But yeah.
so you're saying the team outside of your division is the most hated?
Well, it goes back to the 90s. Actually, it goes back even further for some older 49ers fans because the Cowboys uh,
I was
kept
gonna say
knocking the
I
49ers
thought
out of the playoffs back in the 70s. And so then in the 90s, when you had Aikman and Irvin and Emmett Smith, those guys, uh, they they won what 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, and the
no,
first
that's
two.
not fair to say. That's not fair. Neil O'Donnell threw it right to Brown twice.
I know, I know, and I was rooting for the Steelers in that one. Um, but yeah, they
Obviously, I was too.
there was it was a fierce rivalry. It was like the 49ers and Seahawks from the Harbaugh days. So yeah, we hate them. And for me, it might be worse because I grew up in Arkansas and I lived in Oklahoma for a long time. So that's right in cowboy country. So
You were
I've been a
right there.
49ers
No
fan
protein. You
surrounded by
were
Cowboys fans
you
my whole
were
life. Yeah.
right because you were right there. There's no pro teams. It's like Houston.
Uh-huh.
What are you gonna do? Cheer for the Oilers?
Well, yeah, and Houston's farther away than Dallas. Um, so yeah,
I
most of
wasn't
the
sure where you were either in the states.
yeah, in
Because if you're on that one
Arkansas.
side of Arkansas, it's a little bit closer to Houston.
Yeah,
But
and then
anyway,
in Oklahoma, it's definitely closer to Dallas. But I mean, I'm a
oh for
Houston
sure.
Astros fan because I lived in Houston as a little kid, um, and I liked the Oilers years ago, but back in the Earl Campbell days, so that was fun days, especially for Steelers fans because the Steelers would beat the Oilers in the playoffs. But yeah, that's why I hate the Cowboys so much.
I've been to that stadium and it's monsters. that,
Yeah, it is. It is humongous.
that's I didn't get to see a game, but I did do the tour, and it took 4.5 hours.
Holy cow.
But they let you go on the field and all the locker rooms. I did have my terrible towel, and I laid it in the end zone and took a picture. I don't know if they like that very much, but I did that in Seattle too. So, um, yeah. So I mean, it's fun. It's fun going traveling to see the fields and everything else. I'd like to do the UK trip one day. I think that'd be fun to go check out games over there just to see the atmosphere and the different barriers because they don't have a home team, so it's teams of everyone's going to be there.
We're starting to see more and more. So, like the Packers Giants game this year was more of a Giants Packers heavy. There was a lot of Packers fans there with it being the first one. There was a lot of Giants fans. I have a feeling when the Niners come back over, given that we've got the international marketing rights for the UK, you'll see a lot of red and gold in the stadium as opposed to every other jersey. I know it's something Nick Clark from the 49ers is working closely with ourselves. So when the Niners do come back over, Adam, I think we're going to see more of a section where there's going to be a lot of Niners fans, where normally at the international series games you see every jersey represented. But I can't wait for the Niners to come back over. It's going to be awesome, man.
Yeah,
Whole
yeah,
section,
that
I
would be
thought we'd
cool.
see pretty much half the field.
I just hope it's at Wembley and not Tottenham. So I don't know if you know, there's the two stadiums now. So Wembley's where is the national stadium in England where the soccer team play. But Tottenham Hotspur built a stadium in conjunction with the NFL, and they've got a proper custom turf for the NFL. But the actual
Mm.
getting to the stadium and surrounding the stadium's not as good as Wembley. So because I wasn't able to go when they came last time in 2013, because I had a small child. I was only 6 months old. And my partner at the time was like, "Yeah, you're not going to London," because I live about 7 hours away. She was like, "Yeah, you're not going." And I'd only been watching, about 18 months. So I have since Adam been given permission that as soon as the schedule's released, once it's confirmed the Niners are in London, I know I'm definitely getting to the next one. So I can't wait.
Are you taking the whole family, Paul, or are you just going to go yourself? Or
I'll
because I
probably
know
just
your
go
daughter, I know
myself.
you've turned your daughter into a big fan.
Yeah, so I've got the three girls, 9, 12, 15. But I live, like I said, in the northeast of England, so going to London is expensive and the tickets will be expensive. So I probably will go on my own to that one. The family might come with me to London for the weekend, but I think when the games started, I think I'll go to the game on my own with like the rest of the 49er faithful UK, so I can fully enjoy the experience. But yeah, it's going to happen because they've been given the international market rights for the UK. So it's something that will definitely be happening in the next couple of years. It just
Seems they keep the Niners in Mexico though. That
I
seems to
don't
be
think
their international game for some reason.
I don't think they're playing again in Mexico next year. But yeah, the Mexico game was awesome to watch, to see the atmosphere there. But
Hmm.
I don't know whether is Mexico an international market right as well, Mark. I know they've got the UK. Were they given Mexico, or was it just because it was so close that everyone got excited?
I know
Yeah,
it's a
I'm
big
not sure.
Niners
They
home.
played there before, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, so the connection we've got, Adam, is obviously the NFL are allowing teams to have international market rights, and the UK have been given to the 49ers. I think other teams have got the UK as well, but that's why they're working closely with ourselves. And we had our first official watch party earlier in the year, which was run by the 49ers. It was the first one in the UK hosted by an NFL franchise. I think the Bears tried one a couple of weeks later, but it wasn't as successful as ours. Not quite sure why, but ours definitely was awesome, apart from the fact we got beat by the Falcons. Put a bit of a dampener on it.
I feel I feel Niners and Jets would be a big matchup for fan base wise because of the Jets green gang green over there, and you guys. I feel that would be a good green and gold or red, green and red Christmas, I guess, atmosphere.
So in the comments, Ted has put in there that there's no Mexico game next year because the stadium's been redeveloped. So I mean, obviously the Germany game looked awesome. I have friends who were Seahawks fans and Buccaneers fans, and they're trying to get tickets, and it actually worked out cheaper to go and watch a game in the States than it did to go to Germany. So I have a few friends who were very shocked by that, but I think Germany market is somewhere they'll extend, just given the feedback that they've had. But obviously, we do love the international games in London, and long may they continue.
Haven't they been pushing the NFL? Haven't they been pushing the Jags there a lot?
Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't change team, Mark. If
Yeah.
the Jags were given the UK franchise, it wouldn't make any difference to me at all. And I know everybody in my group in the 49er Faithful UK, none of us would change our allegiance. The only thing that it might see is if you've got a franchise over here and you know you've definitely got 8 games, you'd probably see people go just to watch the NFL. But I don't think you'd get the passion for the teams that you see that we've got. You know, I've invested 10 years of my life already into the 49ers. I don't watch any other sports. I do shows like this. So to suddenly be like, oh, by the way, guys, I'm not doing 49ers stuff anymore now because I'm going to become a Jags fan, it just wouldn't happen. I can't see it anyway.
If you were a Jags fan, then you'd have to change your name to Paul No Hope.
I like that, Mark. I like that.
That was pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Trevor Lawrence looks like he's getting it at times, and then at times he just looks like he doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
It's
But I mean, I feel like I'm watching a rookie out there with him and Evan Ingram. I mean, that's what it feels. I mean, Evan Ingram's on fire lately. I know we're off topic, but we were talking about the Jags. So do you feel like Paul, do you feel like anyone would be a Jags fan, or would this be the guy off the street being a Jags fan just because it's another football team to root for?
They've got a big following over here. They are people who are Jags fans purely because it looked like at one point that the Jags were going to be stationed over here. But I think what you'll find is in the UK, we've all picked our team. We've all invested. The internet helps. You know, we all have Game Pass. We all have, Twitter. We don't miss a game. It's not like possibly, 10, 15 years ago where you couldn't get footage or you couldn't watch a game. I mean, I've not missed a Niners game live. Yes, it causes me a few headaches, like Friday morning coping on 4 hours sleep, but it's what you do for the team you love. And that's why I think the NFL have been quite clever with how they've marketed the international games, where it's a kind of a celebration. You can go whichever team you support. You can wear your jersey. I think they are trying to grow the game, but you'd have to go, for me, into the schools and get the kids when they're younger. But it's actually, I was listening to my good friend John V on the Locker Room Rant, and they've been talking about the World Cup recently, and they were saying, how come America never does well at the World Cup? But when you think of the sports you guys have that's competing for the attention, because you've got to start at a young age. You know, if you go into the schools in America and you go into high schools, there's not many of the top athletes playing soccer, football, basketball, hockey, for want of a better word. There's other sports that have your attention. So if you flip that on the other side, if you come over to the UK, yes, we love the NFL, but there's not kids playing NFL, American football at lower level. There's a lot of soccer, there's a lot of rugby, there's a lot of cricket. So if England, for example, were to put a team to go up against an American NFL team, we would get the floor wiped with us, because obviously we don't play it. And it's that kind of, if they're going to grow the game, Adam, and they want to put a team over here, you'd have to market it at new people coming to, people who haven't got the team, who may watch Red Zone on a Sunday, play fantasy football, but don't have a team. But if you're going to come at someone like myself, who's an established 49ers fan, there's no way I'd be changing. The only way it would happen is if the San Francisco 49ers relocated to England, and I can't see that happening anytime soon.
Do you think the NFL would make it easier for travel and do like a month of home games, a month away games, and then just have that team stay in the States for that long?
I
instead of traveling back and forth and losing sleep. And
to be honest, Roger Goodell talked about something recently where I think they've moved away from having one team in London. They may look at having, and this might be 10, 15, 20 years down the line, a division in Europe. So they're based, and it maybe you've got a team in Germany, you've got a team in England, if they can expand it out. But I don't know. I mean, how do you guys feel about it as Americans? I mean, there's a lot of talk of a franchise coming over here. Is it something you'd support, or is it a case of if it's not broken, don't fix it?
well, I mean, I was just asking a question in general about that because we just watched Miami stay in LA for the 2 weeks instead of traveling back and forth.
Yeah, I'd certainly be in favor of it. I just my concern would be taking care of the players, in their recovery time and things like that. But yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't have any problem with it.
I was just wondering your thoughts on that because just like I don't know, it makes sense for a team not to travel as much or maybe do like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure
Yeah,
that fuel
they'd
in the
have to
jet
figure out.
lines.
They'd have to do something like that.
But I mean, we're not going to have. I don't think we're going to have a London team for a while. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, yeah, because the Jags were the team that they seem to be pushing that way. But now that they're getting better, I don't know that that's going to happen after all.
You good, Paul?
Yeah, sorry, it's that time of year where Christmas deliveries are coming, and I heard the dog barking, and I thought I better go check the front door because if I miss a delivery, I'm in big trouble. But it was my other half and the kids coming back in from a shopping trip, so I apologize for having to dip
Oh,
out
you're
there.
good, man. Got to get those. Got to get those gifts hidden. I know, man. I know. But yeah, like we were just talking about, like I think maybe 2 weeks would be better, or like I just feel like that's a lot of jet fuel to go back and forth week to week.
I mean, personally, obviously, I'd love to have more access to the NFL, but there's not much they could really do at the moment. I watch all the games, I buy all the merchandise, I'm fully invested in my team, as are the 49er faithful the UK. For me, the big aim is to getting out to the States. So you've both probably seen my good friend Lee Gowland, who runs the 49er faithful UK group, El Presidente. He was out for the Saints and Dolphins game. He was well looked after. He was with Jed York, Nick Clark. The footage that he's got from his trip is unbelievable, and it's just made me more determined to get out there. But obviously, with a small family, a trip to California from the UK isn't cheap, but it's definitely something that will be happening. And trust me, the whole world will know about it when I get out there. And I know I'll be touching base with everybody I've connected with online, and I can't wait. But I just don't know, Adam. At the end of the day, money talks. Like Ted has put in the comments there, that the US market's pretty saturated.
I'll repost it just so people know.
International is the best way to keep it growing. I think, like you said, they sell out all the games over here. They sold out the game in Germany. The worry would be if they put a franchise over here and they're guaranteed 8 games and those 8 games didn't sell out. But I just think that's what they're nervous about. Because obviously a one-off is always a good experience to kind of pay your money and go. I mean, for context, I've never been to an international game yet because the games have never taken my fancy and it's expensive to go to London, not just for the game itself, but, traveling to London, staying in London. So when the Niners contacted us and asked about the UK watch party, we said, if you have it in London, you're not going to get as many people go. And because of the connection with Leeds United, that they hosted it at Leeds, which was like 90 minutes away from my house, and they were blown away. And what was good about it was, to grow the game in the UK, you need to move it around the UK. If you just have everything in London, you're missing out majority of the country. So hopefully that could be another avenue that the NFL look at, not just having stuff in London, but having stuff around the UK.
You mean like having a multiple home venue?
Well, just moving it around. Like you said, I mean, I went to London in the summer, and as you both probably are aware, I had all my Niners gear on, I had my flag. Fully expecting to bump into other NFL fans. I didn't see any. I live in Middlesbrough, which is a small town in the northeast of England. I go out and I see Niners gear or NFL gear all the time. I mean, I went shopping the other week with the kids and bumped into a Vikings fan, and we spent half an hour talking about Kirk Cousins, CMC, the NFC, the seeding, and everyone's walking past looking at a guy in a red hat and a guy in a purple hat thinking, what on earth is this game that they're talking about? Because obviously, soccer is our national game. The World Cup, I haven't watched any of the World Cup. I've got zero interest in it. We played the Dolphins a couple of weeks ago. England were playing the same night. And when I went to work the next day, everybody was like talking about the England game, and I was like, didn't watch it. And people were like, why didn't you watch it? I was like, because my team were playing the Dolphins and we had an awesome win. So why would I be watching the soccer? So
do you feel that, well, obviously it's got to be 50-50 by now with football, right?
No, I think
Is your
soccer,
football still winning the battle?
I think soccer will always be the national sport in England, but what you are seeing is a lot more people like myself moving away to the NFL. You know, like I said, all my free time is spent reading, watching, doing shows. And, I know the NFL inside out, where you ask me to name England's starting 11 in the World Cup, I'd have to Google it. I had no interest at all. And I know other people who were doing the same.
Paul, I thought we had a really good World Cup game. I did listen to it. I mean, we did play England, and we kept it tied 0-0.
You're speaking to the wrong man. Honestly, no interest at all. I think I did the Breezy show that night, and there was a lot of people in the comments like trying to wind me up, and I was like, I wish you well. If America beats England, doesn't mean anything to me. I was more focused on beating the Saints that weekend, to be honest with you, Adam.
Yeah, let's not. I don't understand that. You guys played the Saints at the 28th run defense and barely put up 100 yards.
Still
I
won a
didn't get a
game.
chance to talk. I didn't get a chance to talk about that one, but that was just something I was very confused on. I figured with your bowling ball and then CMC, you guys would have at least put up 100 each. But that was just me living in the optimistic world.
That was one of those games.
But you got the win. The win happened, and that's all that counts. I mean, you don't look back and go, "Oh, we barely beat this team. We barely beat this team." No, you look back and go, "We were 13-4, whatever."
If we win our next 3 games, I called a 13-4 record at the start of the season, and people said I was mad, and I wouldn't be bothered that I got the 4 losses the wrong way around. I'll be claiming that I got it right at the start of the season. So I want them to win out, just so nobody comes after me, man.
I was looking at that the other day, and I believe you did say 13-4 on my show as well. Yeah, I think it was me, you, Mark, Ronnie Niner, and then Mark, the Green Bay guy.
That's correct.
And he was showing off his basement, which was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, that
Mark,
was
nice. You saw his basement, right, Mark?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a pretty good base. That was a pretty good basement.
Yeah, it was.
That was what you call a Green Bay man cave that lives in Nebraska, Lincoln, or Nebraska. He lives in Nebraska somewhere, the other side, not by Lincoln, but like 400 miles away from Lincoln. So he is far away from Green Bay, but that man cave is awesome.
Wow. So,
boys, we got anything else to? I know you guys could talk all day about Niners. I get it, but Mark, you are well over your half-hour time, and I'm grateful for it. I know you got to get to the airport and fight the traffic, and then also the fun-loving weather. Yeah. Unless you're driving now and the wife's driving, and you get to be on your podcast.
No, I'm not driving yet, so be interesting to see what it looks like out there.
How far are you away from Midway?
Probably not. See, O'Hare, I'm probably an hour and a half. So probably, I don't know, like an hour and 15, something like that. Because I'm an hour from downtown Chicago.
Midway's the one a little bit on the outskirts, right?
No, it's closer to the city than O'Hare is.
Why do they make it sound like Midway's the easier airport?
Well, it's the easier to fly in and out of because it's smaller, but it's not really any easier to get to. Um, it's just it's just not near as busy as O'Hare. That's the big one.
That's the Delta. That's the Delta main hub.
No, it's uh, United.
Oh, okay. My bad. Whoa. But Mark, it has been fun. How do people get you?
Just fight. You can find me on Twitter at 49ers Camelot, or you can go to 49erswebzone.com and search the site staff, and you'll see you'll see my picture that you see on the screen, and then you can just click on articles, and you'll be able to see what I do there.
That's what you've been doing this whole time, advertising so people can find you in your picture. I like it.
Yeah, Mark's a great follow on Twitter. The articles are good. Someone that I follow a lot. It's someone who I retweet, someone whose work I'm a big fan of. And Mark's jumped on shows like this, and it's always great. Like when you said to start half an
Yeah,
hour,
same here.
I was thinking, there's no way Mark's staying half an hour. He's like me; he can talk Niners all day. So I'm just grateful we've had his time before he's had to battle the traffic.
I know. Yeah, well, I feel the same way, Paul. I enjoy listening to you and watching and reading what you do, and Adam, it's always fun talking to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, we're gonna do it again one day. Soon. We're gonna get things rolling and get things back to normal here. We took a little kick in the where this week, but gotta get the ball rolling. We got our Niner fans out there. So, are you guys Empire or Nation?
Yeah, it depends on who you ask. I don't. I mean, faithful is what the fan
I
base is
would stick with
called.
that,
So
but that I've been hearing different rumors, different talks, and I'm like, which one do they go by?
yeah, they
So
don't know. They don't only argue about the quarterbacks. They argue about whether they're nation or empire and all that. So
I mean, we're the
Like,
49er faithful UK, but I do believe that the President Lee Gowland is connecting us with the Empire. I might have got that wrong, but we definitely stick to 49er faithful UK. As you can see, that's the flag. We've got the flag in our colours, so that's who we stick to. But yeah, Mark's right. Go on social media at any time, day or night, Adam. There's always a disagreement or an argument, or there's some different of opinion. So just pick your battle, buddy.
why ain't it Niners United?
Don't know, buddy.
'cause,
There's one for you. Get yourself on Twitter,
yeah.
create a space, ask the question, and then see what happens.
I was just wondering, but anyway, Mark, safe travels, man. Like I said, we'll catch up when we'll get back on the horn here and enjoy your family for the next couple days. I think you said they're here till Thursday or Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yep.
Well, enjoy it. Hopefully you're doing some Christmas stuff and getting it out of the way and being able to
Yeah, it's
relax.
gonna be
That's the
fun.
main thing.
Yep.
And they
Thanks,
picked a
guys.
good timing because you actually have time off probably from the actual Niner talk for a couple
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, I do.
So
Yep.
so good. I'm glad things are gonna work out and we'll hear all about it on the next trip.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Adam. See you,
Yes,
Paul.
sir.
Speak to you later, Mark.
All right, Paul. That brings us to you. Getting over the was it ACL or MCL? I forget which one. I know it was the knee, but
No, it wasn't the knee. I'll let you off with that. I ruptured my Achilles tendon, so I ruptured my left
Achilles
Achilles
burst.
tendon. So
My bad.
yeah, it happened on the 30th of January, so the morning of the NFC Championship game. So I'm not quite sure what was more painful, the fact that I had my first ever serious injury or the fact that we lost to the Rams in the NFC Championship game. But yeah, it seemed a long time ago from now, but I'm back. I'm back playing. And as you saw on Twitter, I was lucky enough to win Rookie of the Year at my new team. So at the grand old age of 42, I got myself a little trophy and I was quite pleased with myself, to be fair, buddy.
Let's look at it.
Yeah,
There it
so
is. It looks really big, and then whenever you sent me the picture of your one, I was
yeah,
like, "Wow, that's a tiny little thing, huh?" So
Yeah,
why is it shaped like a stingray?
so that's the name of the team. So I'll just make sure I get it up before I get it wrong. So when I joined the team, they were called Darlington Steam because that was the closest football team. But Darlington tend to focus on contact, and we obviously were flag. So we called the Steel River Stingrays American flag football team. And as we're a new team, they obviously don't have a lot of money in the kitty at the moment. So the trophies themselves were created on a 3D printer. And to be fair, it is a dinky little trophy. It's in my cabinet behind me with all my gear.
I'm gonna show the other picture you sent me, and maybe if you can get a glimpse to see how big the trophy is.
Yeah. So, like you said,
You sent me the
any
little write up and everything
yeah. So
else. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say. So any money that goes into the kitty goes towards the team at the moment. But we had like our first awards due last Sunday. So we're sponsored by a local casino. So in the UK, the casinos have late licenses, so they're always a great venue to go and watch the NFL. So what was good for me as a Niners fan is obviously we had our award ceremony. Then I sat down and watched us destroy the Buccaneers. So it was quite good. But yeah, it's been a good journey for
So you
me.
guys got to watch that at the award ceremony?
Yeah, so
Nice.
to kind of rewind a little bit, the background behind it, Adam, is I love the game of NFL. I love American football. As you know, I spend a lot of time on social media talking about it, tweeting about it. And after the pandemic, after the lockdown, which it doesn't matter which country in the world you live in, it was difficult for all of us. So 2 years of working from home, not doing very much exercise. This time last year, my New Year's resolution was to go and try this wonderful game of American football. Now I'm too old to play contact. I went and watched a couple of contact teams, and I thought, ironically, I'll get injured playing that. So when I discovered flag football, I went to my first training session and fell in love with it. Obviously, it has all the elements. You know, you need to be catching the ball, you need to be able to read a defense. It was just ironic that after my first training session, because I realised how unfit I was, I decided to do some extra running outside of the training, and that's when I ruptured my Achilles tendon.
Well, I'm sure the Twitter nation loved it for that because you blew up from being able to not do much on your own. So you're like, I'm just gonna play on the computer, and I don't you think you're a little fish. I don't think you are, but that's just me. Um, I'm grateful to talk to you all the time. I'm glad we've become like this. I feel we've become more than just podcasting people. I mean, we talk all the time, even off screen. So I feel that we have a decent chemistry. We might even be able to play Xbox and PlayStation here as you're learning. Um,
No, I
so
agree. I mean, you reached out to me, so for people watching this may the first time, you were one of those people that you reached out to me when I was injured, and you asked me to come on and talk about being an NFL fan in the UK. And not that I'm trying to insult you with a backhanded compliment. Sometimes you go on these shows as a UK fan and you think, am I being used as a token gesture? Is it kind of either taking the mick out of me, either poking fun? But you quickly realised that I knew what I was talking about. You knew I was invested. And like you said, you have become a friend off air. You've checked up on me. We message all the time. It's just been unfortunate we haven't done more shows. But I always try and help you out where I can. I remember there was a show recently where I'd finished Let's Talk Sport, and I actually had like 15 minutes before I went back on my dinner. And I jumped on your show with the Gangrene UK a lot. And, I jumped in there, I retweet your stuff. And yeah, I agree. I think we've got a good friendship, a good chemistry. Hence why, like I said, I've cleared my schedule for today. The other half was happy for me to come on. She always likes it when I can give back to people who've given to me. So when I say I feel like I am a little fish in a big pond, I am. I'm just a fan in the UK that's turned my hand at this kind of content creating game. But people seem to like what I do on social media. People seem to like the shows, and long may that continue. So I'll keep doing it whilst people want it.
are you going to watch football today in about 45 minutes?
Yes, I'm due to head out later. So after I finish off with you, I'm going up to see my friend Lee Gowland, the president of the 49er Faithful UK. He only lives about half an hour away from me. And obviously, with him being away recently, I haven't managed to catch up with him. So I'm
I
going to
don't even
head
know
to
who
his
does. I don't
house.
even know who plays first.
Now you're
Is it the
asking.
Brown? The Browns play at 4, right? Browns Ravens. That should be a good one.
I'm not sure.
That's like your prime time game. That'll be like a 9 o'clock game for you.
I know that the isn't it? The Colts play the Vikings.
That might be the first game then.
That's the 6 o'clock game, which, to be honest, I'm not going to sit down and religiously watch them. When I lived on my own before I met Tracy in 2018, I'd have watched all the games. But what I compromise with now is I watch all the Niners games, I watch all the Sunday games, and then obviously I do shows like this one. But I'll probably keep an eye on. I will have to set my fantasy teams before I head out because I'm in the playoffs in a few leagues. That was another downside of my injury, is I joined far too many fantasy leagues earlier in the year, and then now I'm fully fit and I'm back at work. I'm back playing flag football, family, shows. I haven't got time to keep an eye on them all. So next year, I'm only going to do a couple of fantasy leagues.
How'd you do in the SBF?
In which one?
The Scotty Fishbowl.
So I was in the Edinburgh division. So I came 10th in the division, which wasn't too bad given that, you know, some of the people I was up against. And I think out of the 3,000 people that entered, I came like 2,170 something. But I didn't come last. I beat some of the established content creators, some of the fantasy football experts. So I was happy with my performance, but I'm not a fantasy football expert by any stretch of the imagination. But I've made.
If you could have drafted all Niners, you would have drafted all Niners.
Yeah, I did try to be sensible, but to be honest, it was an amazing experience. I've made some good connections in there. I didn't like the app that the Scottish Bowl uses, if I'm being honest. I do like Sleeper app and I do like the NFL app, and that was on my fantasy league. I found it a little bit confusing at times. I left points on the bench, which is always annoying. But what he's created is pretty impressive. So I might have to create a flag football league for the team next year, but we haven't decided yet.
I had Scotty Fishbowl actually on my show.
It seems like an.
I didn't even know he was coming on.
Why was this?
I had the guys that were in one of the rooms that got invited to Canton to go do the draft, and I guess they all met him, and they didn't tell me. And all of a sudden, I look on my screen, and I'm like, "Why is Scotty Fishbowl showing up on my screen?" And that was pretty impressive. I was pretty excited about that. I never got a chance to get them all back on because, you know, unfortunately, when you have 12 to 13 guys, you know, it's not easy to coordinate the whole thing.
I think I caught that show because I think Patrick was on that show. Patrick Percusi is a Steelers
Yes, he
fan.
was. Yes, he was there. His camera kept cutting out, and it really stunk. But he was there.
He's someone that I've connected with this year on social media, so he's been a good follow for me. And Scott, say it again, Scott Fishbowl. Scott is a very big fish. So the fact you've had him on your show,
I don't even know how I did it. I didn't they invited him. I didn't even know he was there. I was like ready to shit my pants, to be honest. I was like, oh my gosh, stay calm. Scotty Fishbowl is in your room. He was, I don't know, he was drinking something by some palm trees, and I was just like, what's going on? Yeah. You know what I mean? Prepare me for this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a good experience. But so when I ruptured the Achilles at the age I was at, I thought that was me done playing any kind of sport. I hadn't kicked a ball in soccer for a few years. That happened, and to be fair, the physiotherapist that I had was a young lad in his 20s, and he was like, "You're going back to playing flag football." I showed him some of the footage of the game. I'd explained the rules of the game to him. So in January,
we could show them your breakaway speed, Paul. I got the video. I could show. But I like the which one? We'll look. Which one you want? Defense or offense first?
Either or. I'll let you pick.
You sent me 3.
Yeah, that was. There is more footage coming because we do video the games, but these were taken by my good lady Tracy, who came to show her support. So she took a couple of videos, which I passed on to you.
Paul getting a sack. I think this is your defensive one.
Yeah.
The 9-second one. Is that the 9-second clip? Is that the defense? So,
yeah.
It wouldn't let me save it, but let's find out.
That was my catch, that one. So so for people watching, obviously flag football is getting massive in the UK. I didn't realize how competitive it was. I fell in love with the game, and when I ruptured the Achilles, they said probably end of the year I'd be able to start running again. And then in August, because I'd attacked my rehab and I'd done everything I was supposed to do, he started pushing me a little bit more. So I was able to go back to flag, I think it was September, Adam. I remember putting a post out there because obviously I share everything on social media. So from day of rupture to going back to training, it was 217 days or 7 months and 5 days to the day from when I ruptured the Achilles tendon to when I went back to my first training session. And that footage you've just shown there was our Thanksgiving tournament. So that was my first actual proper game against other teams, kitted up in the uniform, catching touchdowns, sacking the quarterback, and winning me the Rookie of the Year award.
I don't. I gotta find. I think this is the one where you broke down the sideline, but you didn't catch it. I mean, you caught it.
Yeah. So, to be honest,
Okay. All right. What happened now?
no, I did catch the ball on that one, but obviously the footage cut out. But to be honest, I'm still not 100%. I'm still nervous with the push off. And I'm suppose if anyone in the chat is watching and they're analysing my form, I'm still battling back to full fitness. I'm still a bit nervous about pushing off from the line. At the grand age of 42, Adam, I still have to make sure I'm warmed up properly. My rehab is never ending. But I'm just glad to be back. And to be honest, I was pretty blown away when you showed some interest recently and you reached out to me and you said, look, I want you to come on and not just talk Niners. I want you to talk about this other side of your life because it is a big passion of mine. As you know from speaking to me, I've fully immersed myself in the team. I'm helping with the social media. I'm helping build the awards night. We're having a Super Bowl party at our local casino, which I'm not going to the 49er Faithful UK one. I'm going to my flag football team one. And I'm just enjoying it, buddy. And I'm just can't wait to play my next game.
So this one must be this. This one must be the defense, the 13-second one. I'm thinking. Let's.
So, to be fair, the quarterback Mags is a good friend of mine. So that, for context, it was our home tournament. So we had two teams. So we had an A team, we had a B team, and obviously I was on the B team, being a rookie. And 24 Mags, he's wheelchair bound, and basically he can't run. He can obviously stand, but he can't half throw the ball. But to be honest, I was still buzzing with the sack, and he actually loves that video as well because he's part of the coaching team. So he spent a lot of time, getting me involved with trying to get my technique of pulling the flag. And when that video was released and you hear the pop, so it was a big moment for me because that was like my first proper sack. I got my first touchdown on the day. The lads have been great. Some of these guys have played football, Adam, for 10, 15, 20 years. They've played contact. They've played flag. What I did is after my injury, I stayed in and around the team. So we have a Discord group. So I stayed in the group chat. I went to games, watched games. I've been watching footage. I still have a lot to learn. But when you asked me to talk about it, I must admit I was pretty excited to talk about this side of my life. So thank you for opening up to me and getting this happening, to be honest.
Always, Paul. Always good to hear you, talk to you. We can do it more often now. Now that I'm allowed to talk Niners again, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the 49ers content community is a big community. There's a lot of content creators out there. I do try and keep up to date with everybody. I try and support best I can. The time difference sometimes doesn't help. Sometimes goes my favour, sometimes doesn't. So, like Ted, who's been in the chat, Ted Talks Ball, I've been looking.
He was supposed to pop on. He had the link, but obviously didn't want to bring the baby on, I guess.
I've been.
He might be still watching, actually.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I've been on his show twice now. Ted is another good follower on Twitter. And I still feel quite humble when people reach out and say, do you want to come on and talk football and talk on a show? But we do have a lot of content creators in the 49er community.
There is a ton of them. But, it's all about the best and just doing your thing. And, I enjoy just having a good conversation. Who watches, who doesn't watch it, it doesn't really as long as the program's good, I feel people are going to catch their eye and pay attention. If not, I know I am enjoying it because I asked you to come on, and I don't care if I go on someone else's show or not. I don't get asked a whole lot, but I will if I can.
Yeah.
Like like Ted, me and Ted been trying to get something going too, but unfortunately with my work schedule and his schedule with the kid and all that, it doesn't always work. With you, I can get before you went back to work. I used to be able to get you at 8:15 my time, and before work, and that way it didn't interfere with my work schedule. And you still had your whole day. It was only what 1:30 maybe
Yeah.
when we
The
started.
first one we did was 1 in the afternoon. And obviously, like you said, you'll have probably seen from I'm in a permanent room now. This is my setup. So I have my microphone set up. I've got
I
my
see that. It looks
merchandise
good. It
behind
looks like a
me.
good little get up there.
So I tweeted a picture out earlier. So my good lady Tracy, we met in 2018. She very quickly found out I had this love for the NFL. And then obviously with lockdown, I started doing podcasts and stuff. And like I said, she was the one that pushed me into go and try and flag football. And then when the injury happened, she obviously gave me immense support. And like you said, I've got a permanent setup for pods. The only downside for the content creating community is because my setup is upstairs when the kids are in bed. So sometimes I can't do the later shows. So, like for example, when we beat the Seattle Seahawks, all the content creators jump on and do an instant reaction show. It's like 4:30 in the morning in the UK, so I'm not able to do that as much. But I always try and move stuff around and try to be flexible. Obviously, Sundays for me is pretty busy day. I've got a very supportive partner because I got a flag football on a morning, 10 till 12 is our training session. Come home, we have a couple of hours together, and then the NFL starts. The saving grace for her is obviously the NFL does finish. We're coming towards the end of the season now, so we do have that gap where she gets a bit more of my time back. But the content creating community never stops, and I had my first glimpse of that this year. So I think this is the first full year of me where I've not stopped talking Niners. Normally you get to the Super Bowl and then you have that break, but because of the draft and because I had people over in Vegas at the draft, and obviously I run the social media for our group, it didn't really stop. So I add in the flag football to the mix, like you've said there. I know I can be busy, but I always try and jump on when I can. Like you said, we've had this hooked up all week. And I was nervous about you showing some of the footage. I get quite shy when it comes to me, which is a bit ironic, given I
I'm
do
not
this
good at
kind of
that either,
stuff.
Paul. I'm not good with that either. I'd rather bloat someone else than myself because that's just not me. I'd rather like I said, I asked you for videos because I wanted to show the world what you're back to playing flag football and you're back to being mobile again and everything else. And I'm like, I want to, you know,
It's given me
but
a good understanding of the game as well. Obviously, I'm not saying I play the game. I mean, obviously, as to play flag football, but running the routes and having to be, sacking the quarterback and being in the coverages and trying to dissect and obviously being around people to talk football. Like normally I have to jump online to talk football, but tomorrow I'll go to flag football. There'll be a bit of trash talk with the Seahawks fans, the head coach is a Packers fan, but we all just talk ball, and it's good to see that developing in the UK. And going back to what we were talking about with Mark, for me, for the NFL to grow fully in the UK, they'd have to invest in grassroots. They'd have to get the kids playing flag football. They'd have to get doing stuff. Well, like at the moment, the flag football community is a bit of a niche one in the UK. Not a lot of people know what flag football is. We've got a
oh,
few high-profile teams. Phoebe Schechter, who is the ex-Buffalo Bills coach, who's the Sky Sports presenter. She was at Leeds at the 49er Faithful UK meetup as part of the Sky Sports team, and obviously chatting to her, I made reference to flag football. She knew my team. She was aware of who our team was. Got chatting with her, and she's like you. She's asked for updates. She's asked for footage. She's seen those videos that you've sent, and to have someone that's considered a celebrity in the UK asking how I'm doing and impressed that at my age I've dipped my toe in the water has been quite humbling. But hopefully I'll be able to send you a lot more videos, buddy, because I'm hoping to be better and better because this is just the start for me, even at the
uh,
age of 42.
it's fun. It's fun to follow people. You know, and then it also it gives you a break from the real sports and lets you see their life and what they're up to. A lot of people might not know that. There is a life outside of Paul Hope besides Niner football.
Yeah. Well, my missus might not agree with you so much. I always tend to be rocking red and gold, but no, I have enjoyed connecting. Like I said, I think lockdown, mental health, people kind of being remote and on their own. It shows the internet can be used for good things, but like you said, now the
So,
world's
so with your setup, is the missus ever broke in and said, "Hey, I want to start my own little thing here"?
no, she's very very shy. I've tried to get her to kind of like the kids have been a bit intrigued. 9,
I
12,
think we
and
had your
16.
your kid was on one of the shows. Popped in real quick.
Yeah,
I think
so
with the jersey. I think it was right around the kiddo birthday gift. I think.
that's right. Yeah, so she's not doing as much at the moment because me and her mum are not together. So obviously she goes between, and her mum isn't too keen with her being on the internet, for want of a better word. So I have to respect that. My 12-year-old stepdaughter Jasmine she's dipping her toe in the waters of the NFL. And my 15-year-old stepdaughter Kaylee, as you can imagine, she's at that age where she's too cool for school. She's not going to do anything that's going to embarrass her. But I do think she's getting impressed that my numbers are going up and I'm doing more and more shows. And
I was gonna
you
say the
know,
kids the kids in our school are probably like, "Is that your dad?
yeah, is that
You
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 know,
you know you know this guy like firsthand?" Like, and she's probably like, "Yeah, I have breakfast with him."
yeah, he's a pain in it now. But the whole family have been supportive of this. Like you said, I started off doing podcasts on my phone with my headphones in, and then obviously you start investing a little bit. Where now I've got a laptop, a camera, a microphone, light that I use just to do podcasts with.
I was
Um,
gonna say, for we started doing like announcing basketball and football games live. I went out and got a notebook and I found a little microphone that might be good for you downstairs. That way you can do these afterwards. Amazon had it for $8.99, and this microphone's pretty good. And I found the notebook on eBay. I think I got it for 35, $40.
oh
But
well,
I
send
mean,
me
if
the
you
link.
only,
I'll have a look. Yeah, send me the link. I'll have a look.
but I mean, if you only need it for a little show, I mean, just gotta put your headphones into the jack on the notebook. But I mean, that worked for me.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
gonna,
mean, like you said, I am trying to add a bit more. I mean, my main staple is the 49er Faithful UK, which is the group I'm part of. I help my good friend Lee run that group. We do our 2 audio podcasts a week, but I think in the new year, I think we're going to look at maybe doing more of like this StreamYard because obviously people are aware of us. People ask us to come on. I don't think I'll ever stop coming on shows. I've got a taste for it now. I do quite like connecting with people, and like you said today. I was very keen that you wanted to get to know me a bit more. And I think some of the people out there know me as a Niners fan, but they may have seen that I play flag football. They may have seen a little bit, but I was quite proud of winning Rookie of the Year. It's the hardest one to win because you can only win it once. It
you only
wasn't as
get one.
simple
You only get
before.
1 year to do it,
Yeah, and to be honest, I was up against a good friend of
or one
mine.
game, as you did.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, there was a bit of blowback from that. So yeah, I had one game day, so I played a couple of games. But what the lads looked at was I was the only one that stuck around. So when I went in January, there was a couple of rookies came. Obviously, didn't stick with it. I got injured, and then I stuck by it. I learned the playbook. I was in the team meetings. I was going to the events, and then obviously when I got back to training, I've never missed a training session, and things are happening where I'm going to sound big-headed here, but I don't care. Last week, I did a one-handed catch in training for the first time. So we practiced the route tree. I did my route. I split. Ball come over, and I just instinctively put my arm out and pulled it in. And then the lads were all cheering, and I was like, "Oh wow, I've just pulled a one-handed catch in." And I'm still learning. I still make mistakes. In the game day, it wasn't all good. I got blown a couple of times by, you know, the wide receiver was coming down, did a move on me, was behind me. There was a big lad who I couldn't cover, and every time they threw the ball up to him, he pulled it in. But that's the point of being a rookie, isn't it? You make those mistakes, you learn from them. Tomorrow we're having like a daft Christmas game because obviously we train on a Sunday, so the next 2 weeks it's off. So again, it's going to
So,
be
so are you gonna actually watch the Pro Bowl now because they're doing flag football?
yeah, probably. I mean, like I said, I
I'm,
know in
I'm
America flag football tends to be something that the kids play. and it doesn't tend to be. But
It's actually a newer thing over here because they're trying to limit all the hits and everything else, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the hits are fun to watch, but at the same time, with how big these people are now, it's scary at the same time. But I mean, don't get me wrong, you see a good hit, you're like,
oh,
and
definitely. I just being like you said, a family man. I work. I couldn't play that as an amateur sport at the risk of injury. So, which is ironic given that I got injured at flag football. But it's a happy medium for me going and being competitive still, but in a non-contact basis, and the camaraderie's there. I'm not going to lie. When I got my jersey and it had my name on the back with 85, you know why I picked 85. You know me
right,
well enough to know that was a pretty
Vernon
special moment.
Davis.
Even Vernon Davis, the catch two against the Saints. But even at my age, getting your own jersey with your name on the back, and the old adage, if you look good, you feel good, you play good. Getting the receiver gloves and getting the cleats because they are different to English football boots, and I just like everything about it. We train at an indoor facility with a 5G pitch, so that's pretty good as well. So obviously it's cold where I am
Do you
in
have
the
to wear
northeast
do
of
you have to
England.
wear soccer cleats on that field, or do they let you wear football
No,
safe cleats?
they let us wear our American football cleats, so they've
Do you
never
go
asked
high
us not
top?
to.
Do you go high
I've
top or low top
I've got
or mid?
mid at the moment because of my injury. So,
High top
but
might be better for you, just to have a little more support for that arch. Just a
possibly,
thought. Just
yeah.
a thought.
But you'll know me well enough that, like with my Niners gear, now I'm fully involved. I keep looking at merchandise. I keep looking at boots. I keep looking at gloves. But I've got to be like, I don't need them. I don't need them at the moment. So I've kind of moved towards the Under Armour for flag football. So I like the Under Armour gloves. I like the Under Armour tops. So, which is a bit of a surprise because all my Niners gear is made by Nike. So,
You're still gonna wear what you like. Doesn't matter. You can't be fully invested when you're not fully invested in the. They're not paying you to wear that,
no.
so you got to wear what you like.
But yeah, the flag football it's been a good journey. It's only just beginning. Like I said, the awards ceremony, I didn't expect to win Rookie of the Year. I've got a good friend who's a Niners fan who lives near me, Connor, and I brought him with me to flag football a couple of months ago. Um, he's he's a lot younger than me. He's in his 20s. He's electric. He's fast. He's a lot quicker than I am. But I thought he'd win Rookie of the Year, to be honest. But obviously the team just went down a different route. They gave Connor Most Improved. They gave me Rookie of the Year. And like I said, it was just, it sounds daft, but it was just a nice touch. And it made me feel quite special that the team had thought of me in that way. And I got my little trophy, like you said. It's in the cabinet. The kids were impressed by it. I suppose the pressure on now is to see what I can win next year, Adam.
Well, next year should be championship talks, right?
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Or you fight for the red and gold jerseys.
To be honest, there's a lot of teams play red and gold.
Oh,
That's
really?
why, yeah. So that's why we've gone with the colourway. Navy blue is our home. Go
Maybe
well.
you can get that all white away jersey.
Oh, that's not a bad shout. I'll be rocking that one tomorrow, going to trading because the two Seattle Seahawks fans need to be reminded that we're kings of the West. And the trash talk they gave me at the start of the year, I need to cash a few receipts in tomorrow.
And what time's this game?
So it'll be 10 a.m. UK time. So we train 10 till 12. But obviously, it's a friendly game against friends in the run up to Christmas. But when the whistle goes, then you're on that line of
Gotcha.
scrimmage. It gets
Are
very
are they
competitive.
live feeding this anywhere?
Probably not, but I'll try and grab some footage for you because I know you're impressed. We do have a couple of GoPros. So on our Thanksgiving tournament, when we played against our first proper game against the team from Carlisle, I know that has all been recorded, and I'm dying to get my touchdown, like my other touchdown, not the one you've got, the one in the first game. So when I get that footage, I'll send it over to you. But I'll be happy to jump on and keep you updated with the progress of how the season goes. I think we've got a tournament in January, and then the season starts. So because the teams are spread out in the UK, you meet up once a month and you have a game day. So you travel for maybe 3 hours, and then you'll play 4 or 5 games, and then obviously that'll happen. I think it's 6 or 7 times in the season, And then September's normally when you go to the national tournament.
So are there teams all the way down in London and everything?
Yeah.
So are you guys in? I take it you're in separate divisions, though, right?
Yeah. So it's you play in divisions, but the national finals are held in Manchester in September. So if you qualify for nationals, you then go to Manchester for the weekend, and then obviously
is that held on the Man U field?
No, unfortunately not. That would be awesome.
I'm
not
wondering.
sure.
That'd be pretty badass, actually.
That would be, yeah. If it would be held at Old Trafford, but they're normally live streamed as well. So my friend Nick Ludlam plays for the Swansea Hammerheads, so they came second in nationals this year. So I was made up for him because Nick has multiple sclerosis, so he battles with his injury every day. So he's another inspiration, Adam. The reason I mention him is he's a Niners fan. He's part of the group. When I was talking to him this time last year about starting flag football, he was giving me the rundown and he was saying, go and do it, look at me. And he's been an inspiration to me as a fellow Niners fan. And he plays centre, he balls out. And like I said, they just fell at the final hurdle. But the fact that they finished second in the Nationals was pretty amazing, to be honest.
I'll be waiting to hear the details and updates.
But thank you for sharing the footage. I know the kids will love it, and I appreciate you having me on to talk Niners
Yes,
flag
sir.
football. It's been a blast, man.
Yeah, I didn't change my ending yet. Gina's show's still on there, but that's all right. That's all right. Well, I meant to fix it, and then I got on Canva and started getting sidetracked this morning. So anyway,
good.
Well, Paul, stick around for a minute. We'll talk after the show real quick. I know you got plans, but how do people get you?
Twitter is the main one, at Paul_Hope10. I also run the at 49FA for the UK. So please do follow both. It'd be much appreciated. And any questions, just hit me up with my DMs. They're always open, as Adam will attest. And if I can help anybody, I will.
Yeah. Paul, if he doesn't reply right away, that means he's actually busy.
Or asleep.
but he'll get there and get back to you. Paul, as always, man, great catching up. We're gonna do this more often, and we're gonna stay on tact here. But everyone, thank you for checking out the show. Remember, like and subscribe. And I am Sports Talking It, and we are out.